Welcome everyone to the last episode of Rugby Blitz's review of Chasing the Sun. I cannot believe we've gone to the last one. It feels like yesterday, Shocky. I mean, or 5 weeks ago that we did episode one, and we decided out of the blue that we wanted to review all the episodes, and didn't think that 5 weeks later how enjoyable it would be. I mean, I think it's been a great journey for the both of us. We had Jared last week coming in, and then but this episode five now, it's just incredible. I mean, I even put on my Chasing the Sun 2 mug as well. I thought I needed for the last episode, but yeah, what a roller coaster of a journey. Before we dive deep into the last episode, Shock, I mean, Chasing the Sun 2, I mean, your initial, if you look back now on all five, what are your first thoughts? And thanks for joining us, bud, again.
Yeah, hi, my man. So so good to be back. I can't believe it's done, but the thoughts were I didn't expect to be so anxious. Like the anxiety was real almost in every episode. Um, I didn't think that they'd be able to get better at sort of bringing the personal side in with the players, and I thought they did that really, really well. But yeah, I was expecting some banter, but I didn't expect what they brought in terms of that. So I was looking forward to a good one. I was hoping it was going to be a little bit more chilled. But yeah, as I said, like the anxiety is real. Like I think TNW not only have brought out an incredible show for us to watch, but I mean they also created the next generation of free divers. Everyone every Sunday gets to hold their breath for an hour, and it's absolutely incredible.
I look a lot of questions from everyone, mates asking me, and generally people asking like, what do you think of Chasing the Sun 2? Ever since they announced it of last year that it's coming. And I think my thing was like, I don't think it was gonna be as emotional as the first one. You think of the Mapimpi story and you think of the journey, but I was like, I'm gonna be interested in how they capture the, how they capture like how close those games were, because for me at heart it was a rugby story. Yes, they say it was a story for South Africa, but I think what the Springboks had transitioned to come 2023 was that they were a great rugby side. They were World Cup champions, but this was going to be the most heavily contested Rugby World Cup. And the Springboks were right in that mix. And, the rugby was becoming the story. Yes, they played and they gave us hope, but they sort of went away from that narrative, and the rugby was their story and the way they played. And can they defend? Because in the day, it's all good and well giving back hope, but shit, we're trying to win a World Cup here. Like, can we defend it? And we have to play some good rugby to do that. And the way for me they captured that, the rugby essence, the like Felix Jones, we'll get to him as he's my unsung hero, but like his conversations nonstop. And there's a lot more rugby in this one, more technical terms. We had a scrumming episode where scrumming featured heavily. Like, I love that as a pure rugby fan, but there's still the sense of, the Deon Fourie story with his dad, and the way that they found that marriage with TNW between the rugby story, which and the personal stories the guys told. And I love that. And I think, you know, like at the end, the last episode summed up the Springboks so well. And the story as well, because yes, as they were planning for the All Blacks. Jacques makes that speech about you write your own script, but I thought that summed up for me the entire five episodes. I mean, I definitely thought it lived up to the hype and then some.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, Felix touches on it when he's like in 2019, they just moaned about the way we played, and now in 2023, we're spreading it and they're moaning about the way we play. I think one thing that is probably highlighted the most out of this is that Jacques Nienaber has seen the strengths and weaknesses of the team and the players, and they've created an incredible hybrid squad. If you look at the journey, we've gone like 5-3, 6-2, 7-1s, players in different positions, four scrum halves. Like they've created a hybrid squad, and the players with the ability to really change it up against a different opposition. Like everything was about the Springboks and themselves, and they touch on it about a couple episodes ago about how you can get lost in how an opposition plays. But we really just like saw what we can do as individuals, and the sum of the parts, putting it together in different ways for different opponents. Because the truth is, you know, playing Scotland, playing Ireland, playing France, England, New Zealand, they all offer something different. But we've managed to change our way and make it unique to ourselves, ironically, and go on to win it. It's amazing.
I'm so excited now. Obviously, I mean, I know Rugby Pass announced that his whole episodes will be on Rugby Pass, and you know uh, what the world gets to see. I mean, I can't wait for the rest of the world to see this. And you know, I mean, I know some people are going to be watching now because they've been waiting for all five to come, so they want to binge. And I'm excited to see, because I want the whole world to see. Like, I understand the Boks got. It almost felt like an us versus the world sort of thing, which is worked for us. And you know, we praise the All Blacks and for how they changed the game, and you know how they're always creating new things. And I hope people watching this from other world like watch Chase the Sun too, and have appreciation of how we actually are innovators ourselves. The things that our coaching staff does, and then you get an explanation as to how they do it. You know, like the All Blacks just told us not to be dicks and sweep the sheds, but like at least with the Springboks, is a full on. There's conversations. There's meetings. There's coaches not trusting their judgment. There's players going, what the hell is going on? So I hope the rest of the world, but when they can see that what the Springboks doing is changing rugby. It's innovative. It's fresh. Just because it comes with fucking teams that are physically and driving mauls, it doesn't mean like it's not innovative.
Absolutely. And what Chasing the Sun and Chasing the Sun 2 has done, like seriously, has changed the landscape of watching rugby and seeing what happens internally, because we were privy to conversations that I've never seen before. We're privy to some pretty deep things and some pretty personal stuff. That's just like on squad announcements. I mean, Stalker was when they were trying to pick the squad for the for the final, and they kind of made it clear that 5-3 wasn't going to be an option. He quickly popped up and he's like, "Yeah, no, I agree. 6-2 is definitely the answer." He's always hunting for more of his backs to be in the mix. But yeah, we saw some incredible stuff and some insights, and just what an amazing setup that the Springboks have, and how like they really open everything up to discussion. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think Jacques Nienaber was totally sold on a 7-1 bench before the World Cup final until that meeting, because he said, like, right, I'm sold. So that to me makes it look like he was probably more leaning towards the 6-2.
Yeah, 100%. But let's dive into episode 5, the last one. I think we've got to start with the episode start. I mean, what a start. So Tom Curry, first of all, I'm like, okay, so we're not even going, like, we had Bongi crying at the end of the last episode. So we're not even gonna like ease in to like, okay, like with Bongi, like, no. So Tom Curry, I was like, oh, geez. My initial takeaway, shock with that is obviously it happened. When Rassie spoke about it, I was where Rassie camp was, just make a decision already. If it's banned, he's banned. But it's a World Cup final, and that took away from a lot in the week, because we kept telling them every week, Tom Curry, Tom Curry, Tom Curry. And there's, I mean, like, it just took away from, it's the World Cup final. The Oak needs to play rugby. It made that story into something where, like, at the end of it, I was where Rassie was like, if you just say a decision be made after the World Cup final, but they let the Oak play and then deal with it. Shock, when you go back to that week, what are your first thoughts?
It was crazy. Like, emotionally, we'd come out of 2 strong weeks, or pretty hectic ones, like against France and England, and then like that was happening. We're now in the final. We're starting to believe that we can go back to back, and this is starting to come through, and it's just overshadowing. I just remember it just went crazy, and I think Siya Kolisi sums it up brilliantly. He just says the English media fucked up because they were stoking that fire. Like, to be fair, if it was the other way around, South Africa, the media, the podcast, all of us would be absolutely going balls to the wall too. So it was just messed up. And how do you manage that though as World Rugby? You know, like, this is the last week of an incredible tournament. can you afford to just say, cool, we'll sweep this under the rug for this week and we'll deal with it next week? Surely they've got to deal with it there and then. Like, it's quite a serious allegation. So I think what they did was right. I don't know how much time if they really had to take that long. I can't remember when was it released, like on the Wednesday or the Thursday or something like that. Could have been the Thursday. Yeah.
They just said he could play.
Yeah. Like the preparation for that, for the team and for the players, the individuals and the squad must have been quite crazy. But yeah, I think they would definitely had to deal with it there and then, just perhaps a little quicker. I mean, it came out on the Sunday.
Yeah.
So
I think there could have been a way to do it. Like, even they're spending a day, hey guys, come in on Monday, you miss training, you're going to spend the whole day in, if it's a hearing or investigation. I think that, especially the week of a World Cup final, I think you don't want something like that. The allegations are serious, and yes, they will be dealt with, but something like that, especially when you could say, like, is the information coming out? There's no information coming out. It's just lingering, and the poor oak has to prepare for a World Cup final. The team is going to prepare his team, and you might not have your starting hooker. And if it comes out on Thursday, you can't fly out a hooker now on Thursday morning and say, hey, can you fly out, land Friday morning, or land Saturday morning, and as you land, you're playing a World Cup final in the evening. So hopefully you flew first class and you're basically laying down for 12 hours. But yeah, I think it was hectic. But I mean, but also, Sharky, it summed up. I love when Trevor spoke about, the memes and stuff. And I mean, it summed up South Africa. I mean, there were plenty of jokes around Beta Kant and guys playing. I mean, seeing that, I forgot how amazing the internet was that week.
Yeah, that's what social media was created for, stuff like that. And I think Cooks, you summed it up so well in the beginning when you just said it's us versus the world. And in hindsight, it definitely played into our favor, because we had that in 2019. We've had that forever, since 2019, maybe even a little bit before. But 2019, the Lions tour, like, everyone was just like, oh, you guys are still playing your same game plan. You guys are so shit. Cool, we haven't played rugby for a year and a half, and then we went on to win it. And then everyone the same, man, low-hanging fruit, man. Oh, they're not expansive. They're not this, they're not that. So it galvanized, and like Felix Jones touches on it. Everyone touches on it some way through. And just about that, like, basically the Springboks just said, like, we are really cool with each other. One thing we picked up was just how amazing they are as individuals, and how the friendships, and everyone knows each other so well. They just basically said, like, screw you,
And something else that flipping got swept. Not so like, but like, they got sprung upon us. We're dealing with Tom Curry shenanigans here. The Boks have released their team, the whole World Cup. Like, I think if they played on a Sunday, the team came out on a Wednesday, or Tuesday. But they released their sides fairly early. But 7-1 gets put out. I'll never forget I think Jared put a message in our group saying it's 7-1, but then we all dangling as well, and the team comes out and then you go, wait, there's no scrum from the bench. Like, I remember that was the first thing that I saw. Wasn't the 7? It was like, there's no scrum from the bench. Shocky.
Yeah.
Can you remember the first time you saw that, boom, the graphic, boom, yes, the scrum.
It was crazy. Like, Koos Reinach has been player 23 or 22 in the one game, but he's been the only backline player in every 7-1. Like, they focus on him pretty well. And like, he was gutted. Like,
he started the quarterfinal and the semi.
And he was part of every 7-1 bench against New Zealand and Ireland. That graphic dropped. We were scrambling, man. Like, I remember, like, I remember that those tweets going out, like, right, Damien Delendi can play 12 and 13, and he can play wing maybe. Cheslin Kolbe can play 9, and he can play 15, or the other wing if need be. Okay, right. Damien Willemse, he can play 15, he can play 10, he can play 12. Okay, cool, and wing. And then you're scrambling, like, you're listing the whole back line and every single position they play, just to almost kind of make yourself feel okay. It's not for everyone else, it's for you. You're like, okay, we're fine. But on that, when that conversation with Cheslin Kolbe was incredible. Like, I totally know how he felt. I mean, when you get called into a room like that, you don't belong there. You've never been called. It's not your place. What have you done wrong?
And also
Sorry,
like,
Cooks.
sorry, I do love the fact that because you start to process the information of going, okay, and like, can I just get some reps in first? Because I love the conversation they had there because, and that's what I love about documentaries. You can see it's not it's not just like, okay, boom, guys, this week is 7-1 or Rassie and Jocko this week. It's thought out where they have conversations, honest conversation and the weighing up pros and cons. And because I love how like one gets eliminated, cool, 5-3. No, against the All Blacks, we need a fresh pack at all times. So it's 6-2, 7-1. And also, like, I love the justification that Felix Jones eventually gets to, and he goes, okay, we've done this twice. Against Ireland, we left a lot of opportunities out there. Against the All Blacks, we gave them a hiding. So it has worked. It's just, like I said, one, it worked very well, other time we take opportunities. So we could have won both those games. But also, like, I still love the fact that the documentary shows that we've all been, in work meetings or, your coaching meetings where, certainly when I've coached, or even our coach, when you've named a team and on the Tuesday and you go to practice and you're still not 100% sure, you're like, I'm still not sure about this. And you could see, like, even the Jacques at the stage, like, it's a good shot, but it gets, like you said, there's a sense of, oh, this is a risk. And I love the fact that the coaches know that, and they like, and they're still, I don't, and like, it wasn't like gung-ho immediately, like, this is the plan.
Yeah. Yeah. The conversation with Chisholm Colby was incredible because I love, all the players said they will play anywhere to play for Springboks. But I thought he took that moment and he took it in a little bit. He had a little think about it. He didn't like jump out and go, yes, I'm in. He had to think about it. He's like, cool. Because on the 7-1 benches in the past, they definitely would have had that conversation with him, even though there was a scrum off on the bench. And there's never been a time where he's been second choice 9. I don't recall. I know he's played there when there was a yellow card, I think, but I know that he's been there in the mix. But this is real. Like, this is different. This is a Bongi Benambi injury away from putting a guy in a space that he really doesn't belong. And no disrespect there. Like, they talk about, like, Deon Fourie, he's going to play 77 minutes in a World Cup final, a position he hasn't played in yonks. And the same was with Ches and Colby playing at 9. But I loved how he went through it. Like, he's like, cool, I want to do it and I'm keen and I totally buy into it, but I need some help. Like, I need to do some reps. I need to work through some stuff. I thought it was brilliant.
No, I thought it was amazing as well. And when Rassie and Jacques announced the team, and Jacques, Rassie speaks about, that scene there, the next 10 minutes there are some of the most incredible piece of work that the guys at CW put together in the box. Because from Rassie announcing the team and saying that guys will be disappointed, but it's not for you, it's for South Africa. And I love that he says that because that's always been the mission, right? But then obviously when they announced the team and the very next person you're talking is Coach going, my fuck. Like, that was one of the worst ones. And then he ends up with that role in my week is to serve. But I love the fact that these orgs at TNW and Chesna Sana show the human element. Because most, like I said, most sports documentaries, you don't see this part. You see the happy-go-lucky, yeah, we made this call, yeah, sometimes a bleak, but you want to hear, because Kuba started the last 2 games, quarterfinal and a semi. In his mind, there's no way he's not playing a World Cup final. There's no
100%.
way he's not playing a World Cup final. Because even him, he probably started that year, 2023, as a third choice come off, because it was when Jaden started 2022, most of it, and then Fast sort of came back into form, and then Kobus sort of, Kobus always kind of filled in, and Fast not there, Kobus is there. And then he sort of found him when the starting come off. And so in his mind, he's probably thinking, if push comes to shove, if you got 7-1 or 6-2, I'm playing. Because you can't not have a 9 in the bench.
Absolutely. And he doesn't just cover 9. That's the thing. Yeah. Like, Billy covers 15, can play on the wing, but you can probably put him at 10 as well. But like, Reiner covers different options. It's like with Willemse there, you've got your 10 covered. It was very interesting, but I love it, like the emotions of it. And the Levietni, like, we don't know what's going on. We don't know the human element. Like, it's there, but fans are so removed from it because we don't see it week in and week out. We saw it for 5 weeks now out of the last 4 years. There's so much more, like Manny Libok playing every single game of the World Cup.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people forget. He played every game except the final.
Box have won every game that he started at 10.
Yeah. And yeah, like there was a lot of disappointment through a lot of the spaces it happened, but that one with Ronak was good because it hit him. It hit him hard. And I love how he just said, cool. Like, also everyone allows like him to, he's like, cool. I felt sorry for myself for a couple of minutes. Everyone would have given him that space if it was a different situation, like if they were talking about it live or whatever. But everyone's got to have that because that's real. That's life. That's how it is. We have disappointments. It's how you get up. How many times, as long as you get up, more times you've been knocked down, you're golden.
No, 100%. I mean, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like even the first episode, remember Dwayne, how he was pushed over on the bench, and it's like it's opening game of the World Cup. I want to play, and at the end of the day, like yes, it's a team sport, 100%. But the guys have goals, players have goals, and I think the culture of the Springboks it was so evident in that 5 minute, that 3 minute when he knows that he has a room to be disappointed. But he doesn't die in the disappointment. He goes, okay, now my role is to serve. Now my job now for the week is to serve this team because that's what this team needs to win the World Cup. And it just shows that the players have the option to allow themselves to be themselves, and also the players, it shows the players have bought into the system because if the players haven't bought in, you don't go from being disappointed to, okay, now I'm ready to serve. No, you'll be disappointed the entire week and you'll be like, some guys, coach send me home. Some guys will sulk, bring down the morale. But it shows the culture in the Springboks and also the cultures. And again, my favorite thing about it is it's a culture built on, the leadership group and the coaches, but also on winning. Because at the end of the day, Cooper Zanak played a similar role in 2019 and he's got a World Cup winners medal. So you having won a World Cup, there's certain things that, especially the players like the Moody and Kurtley Orange and Ox, they come into a culture of winning where we sacrifice here. As your union, you can play 70 minutes if needs be. But here, you might only play 2 games and win but do you want to win a World Cup or not? It's very simple because that's the role you need to play. Yeah,
it's amazing. And, they say losing is a habit, but you want to create, and people always strive to create a winning culture. And the winning culture and the succession planning behind that, if you keep everything along that line and the conversations are the same, the players are having this similar, the language is the same all the way through. It's great. Cooks, I wanted to ask you, when did Achia become like the leading man? Because he's in every episode, he's adding advice all over the show. This guy's got some hidden talents that we didn't know about.
And I told him because remember, Achia doesn't play club rugby in between World Cups because we had the fires. So like, listen, you're back now. So now you have to do extra work at Chasing the Sun for all those games that you've missed in between and all those tests that you've missed. So, and it's fair. Like Achia's gonna give back somewhere to all those games he missed. But that's why I'm still worried about him playing rugby now. I mean, Achia needs to start his 3-year sabbatical so we can see him in 2027. But he was great. I mean, you can't help but listen to him when you're that flippant tall and that good. But there's so many like guys that they just chipped in and it made me laugh in all 5 episodes. But Achia definitely became a leading man. But Sharky, over speech. I mean, come on.
You've got to. What is it when South Africa see obstacles? They almost it fertilizes their creativity. That was one. But his conversation when he was talking, because we don't see that much of him. Like he's very quiet. He's quite analytical. He's doing other stuff. That chirp and that sort of speech beforehand about like individuals, like everyone has always brought back to that humble place where they were. Like, you have written your own story. You don't deserve to be, you shouldn't have been here, but you deserve to be here because you've changed everything. You've looked in the face of that all the time and you've made a difference. And about like writing the script and changing the movie, and oh man, it was incredible. And then he turns around afterwards like, I'm getting a bit emotional. I was sitting there like almost bawling, but yo, amazing.
I just love, yeah, that part is like, Philip getting emotional. He goes back to the clip. And I do like the fact that it wasn't, you can see, he didn't wake up and write that. That's just his pure thoughts, just in his mind about how he feels about. And what I loved about it, I think he summed up the 3-year period from the end of the Lions tour to where they were now, where we had gone from the darlings of world rugby to, just everyone just hating on Springboks, from the videos. And he speaks about like when he starts, it's like just an obstacle. It's just what do you call it? You just like just an obstacle for the All Blacks to hurdle over, just a hurdle. Like all those things, a hop, skip, and a jump, world champions. And he speaks about like how no one wanted them to be there, and like he summed up so well because no one wanted the Springboks to be there. Like at the end of the day, like the one of the Springboks, like, oh, they're not going to get past the group stage, and it almost felt the Springboks had to hop over all these obstacles because World Rugby did not want a Springbok in the Springboks in the final. They wanted to see France. They wanted to see Ireland versus France. And he speaks about, like I said, because it takes them back to that humble place of where they grew up. Like, you're not meant to be. That's when it got me. I was like, oh, okay, now. And he's like, and that's what I was like, that's what drives these oaks, because at the end of the day, they know where they come from and their stories. And for them to be where they are is an achievement in itself. And the coaches know when to pull their heartstrings and to remind them of how far they've come. So, and not just let this game dictate who they are. They've made changes, their lives have changed, their families have changed. And the way he speaks about that, you could see how emotional he gets, and he shows how much he cares about each and every single player. And I thought he summed up exactly what the Springboks are and what their management group are about. And it made me think, like, shocking about why do teams always choose and insisting on trying to give us any more ammo? Because all shocking about say that's enough ammo to drive the Springboks for entire World Cup campaign. But then the opposition, then the English will add the bongy thing, and then the Irish will add, oh, this team plays such shit rugby, and then these guys saying they shouldn't even be there. I'm like, we don't need Oaks to rile us up. Like, just let us almost, I would say, like, be respectful to the Springboks all the time. Just smile, play the CS story documentary all week, praise us. Don't go there and poke the bear all week. What do you think is going to happen?
It's so true. Like, if you look at the media, because I think like the media would also be a little bit of how World Rugby feel about certain things. So the 7-1, like, everyone shat the bed when we did 7-1. And then we went and called it in the final. And then, like, we got to change the laws now. Now, this has got to happen. We want faster games. And every single time there is that hurdle or someone does try and change our script, we're like, no, hang on a second. We've got a different movie to show you. And it's true. Like, we're constantly, it's weird. Like, to think that we've gone back to back, we've beaten the Lions, but we are still probably rated 3rd or 4th to win the World Cup before the World Cup. Like, it was Ireland and France and, New Zealand were always going to be in there, and then maybe us. Like, they were talking about, whoever we faced in the quarterfinal, we would lose to. And it's amazing. Like, I love that, because that's always about being number one, but thinking you're number two. Always. You've got to train and prepare like you are not the best in the world. And it's clear that that's what's happening. And every single time some chop opens his mouth, or some idiot says something that's in, like, at World Rugby or in an opposition team, Rassie and Jacques just be like, cool, I'll just put that in my notebook. We'll tap into that a little bit later. We don't need to do that now. And they've just got everything set up. And that's just how we are. We're the best team in the world. We rank number one. We've got 4 World Cups, two on the trot. And we won the second one against all the odds.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even remember what odds we had before the World Cup, but I know it wasn't the best. And thank you very much.
Before we get in the game, I find this interesting. That the CS Six Nations before France took on Ireland in the opening game. There's all that been mentioned that this was the dream final, the final that the world wanted and we didn't get. As when the players are speaking about the rivalry between the Springboks and the All Blacks and the Chasing the Sun too, and I spoke about the history and what it means and how different it is. And Sunny Bill summed it up. And I said to him, I was like, what utter bullshit from like from the Northern Hemisphere and like other people. It's two of the most successful teams in world rugby playing a World Cup final to determine who's the first to go to 4. One of those teams is unbeaten. The other is the All Blacks, who's got the best record. That is the dream final. What more do you want? How often do you get two sides? I mean, obviously, it is great. Yes, some sports, it would be great to have two teams that they won before. But like, unfortunately, to be the man, you got to beat the man. That's a fact. But
Absolutely.
I thought to myself, like, Sharky, like, man, we got All Blacks and the Springboks in a World Cup final, 1995, and half the world only cares that it was not France versus Ireland, who the teams that they both lost to.
Absolutely. And you know, the thing is, like the All Blacks going into the World Cup, as they mentioned, like they spoke about it in this episode, was no one was talking about them. Everyone forgot about them. Everyone didn't think they were going to be good enough. And like it was the two ugly stepchildren of world rugby that went on to compete in the final. And yeah, like it's just, the thing is if Ireland or France had won that World Cup, everyone would have been like, oh, that's, you know, that we expected that, you know.
Yeah.
But sport, you know, you can script your sport movie, but we will change that movie. I love what that Jacques brought this into our world now, because the scripting things, and sport isn't that boring. And that's the beauty of sport, is like anything can happen. We've seen upsets, we've seen all sorts of things happening. And, you know, everyone was building up to this massive, unbelievable Northern Hemisphere final in Paris. You know, it's just written in the stars. And it didn't happen. And everyone still got a very bitter taste in their mouth about it.
I know, 100%. But then the game starts. I mean, geez, I mean, I must say, Sharky, one thing I did forget about, because of all the shit, all the stress and the worry that comes in the second half, I forgot that in the first half, I won't say dominant, but you probably say that we were the better team. I mean, and we had the rugby and we were playing well. But like, it's hearing those hits again and how physical that game was. I mean, and you know, I mean, and it did feel like we were in control going into halftime.
Yeah, it's incredible. I'm not mistaken, I know they showed the Evan hit first, but I think it was the first big hit of the game. He kind of like just opened it up to show a little bit of light, and then Peter Steff was like, "No, buddy, I'll bring the sun," you know. And it was amazing. You know, going into probably 60 minutes of the game, I'm shocked that we didn't score a try. Maybe it was even 55 minutes.
Yeah,
we came really close. We really dominated.
yeah, should have
We had
passed.
we had two really good chances in the beginning of the second half to score. You know, those change things. I honestly believe if we scored a try in the first half, I don't think the All Blacks would have come back. You know, it would have been another Rugby World Cup 2019 result. But yeah, we took it to them, but we took it to them the best way that we can, because we know what they're going to bring. As I think it was Kwaka was talking about, like how that they're an attacking team and they're going to bring the attack. And we were just like, cool, you know, we're going to dig our heels in and we're just going to absorb and just carry on doing that. And because of that, maybe we didn't really mentally switch it on in the first half to go and score. And that showed in the second half, where they were just like, come guys, like we dominate and we should be scoring here. But yeah, there were a couple that World Cup final probably had 4 very interesting stories about it. You know, that first half, the beginning of the second half, the All Blacks came back. The Curtly Orange tackle was incredible. I stand by, if Rico Ioane had the ball in the correct hand, he probably had a much higher chance of scoring. But these are the small things that matter. But we cooked in that first half. Like, we did stuff in that first half that reminded me of the end of the second half in the 2019 final, where England were just coming at us with everything they had, and we put up what I can't even remember, like a 25 phase defensive set in our 22. And you know, I look at that and like I'm getting goosebumps. That won us the World Cup final. That moment there in 2019 was what happened. And you know, we hit them hard. We hit them with everything. And they tried to come at us and we just hit them back. And it was, the thing is the velocity and the impact and the just absolutely craziness of those tackles. Like, these are professional athletes. This is not Peter Step tackling a club player, you know? These are guys that are like, have been tackled before. Like, they know how to tackle. They know what shoulder to hit. Like, to hit players back that hard consistently in a World Cup final is, Peter Steph must have been cooking. And so he must, I reckon he doesn't remember that final. Like, the red mist came down and that was it.
And also, the funny thing about the first half, I mean, I think for me, there was two big incidents. I mean, first, the Bongi one. I mean, losing Bongi that early, I think that was not in the script for any scenario. But, you know, whenever I think about that in the Deon Fourie thing, it just actually shows what the Springboks are right in terms of sometimes you pick the right man as opposed to, let's say, like just if the man's character as intangibles that stats can't show. You know, maybe, you know, Johan Krobler had better, I mean, any hooker had better stats than Deon Fourie because he didn't play hooker that season at all. But there's certain guys that say, man, stats show this and perform. But there's intangibles there that just the character of a man, of what it brings to a group that you can't put that in the stats. And I can't think of a better character and a man to have played that role than Deon Fourie coming on that early to play a position he's not played in a very long time.
Yeah, they've spoken, the Springbok coaches have spoken a lot about picking the right man and not the best man. Well, not necessarily the best man. And Rassie, Rasmus, and Jacques Ninoba, and like Deon Fourie himself, they all touch on those worries that we had. Like, when this was unfolding in real time for us, we had those worries. And I know, like, I was a little upset about it. I really thought that we were making a mistake. And again, like a couple of episodes ago, I apologize, but I'm going to apologize to Deon Fourie again, because that is 100% what it's all about. It's about the right man. And
I think Deon Fourie would agree with you when they first like with me, okay.
like, yeah, no, true.
Like, okay, I'll do the job, but that's interesting.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing is, and just to kind of wrap that whole thing up about having those right individuals, is the whole team bought into it. You can't do something like that as a coaching staff and not have the team buy in. The same as with Ches and Colby being the backup scrum half. The individuals and the collective group need to buy into that. And they bought into that a long time ago. When they announced that squad, they bought into that because they knew all along that Deon Fourie was backup hooker. And then all of a sudden, 77 minutes in a Rugby World Cup final. And it's the right man. Everyone believed, everyone trusted in him. Rassie said, I trust and I believe him. Whether he can go all the way or not, I don't know. 77 minutes in a World Cup final for someone that's probably a retreaded hooker, because he's not a hooker anymore. You know, he's and he's gone and done that. It's incredible. And it just again highlights what sort of a group they've got, what sort of individuals they are, and the people they brought together. And it's the us against the world thing. Like, he's walked out there and gone, oh shit, yeah, I'm playing the World Cup final, but everyone's trusted in me, so I'm going to lift it. And everyone's like, well, hang on, we trust him, so we're going to lift it to help him. And then all of that combines to the perfect storm to bring us number 4.
No, 100%. And the second biggest thing that in that first half was the Sam Cane red card. Still a red card. I mean, what you see again is, I'm like, that is a red card.
100%.
I mean, there's no other way. There's no mitigation. And you look at it, it's like, I try to be as objective as I can and look at it in terms like, can't see, because I mean, the way the cues have gone on about it, and I hadn't watched the final for a while. I'm like, that's a red card. It's the rules sort of state that, and you know, and I'm so glad the game became good, because again, I still live by the notion that red cards don't ruin rugby games, bad tackling ruins rugby games, foul play ruins rugby games.
Well, the game wasn't ruined. It's a red card, and it doesn't ruin it. I'll tell you something. Jesse Creel goes off there, we don't win the World Cup. That's the fact that he stayed on. That was, he got smoked, man. He got absolutely smoked. But you're coming from the side, like I don't think you see that coming. And that's also the other thing. Like, you don't want to put your head in that space. You don't do it intentionally to give someone a red card. Yeah, that 100% a red card. It's direct contact. Like, he got smoked. It's definitely a red card in my books as well. Interesting moment. that galvanized the All Blacks.
Yeah.
You know,
They came out guns blazing doing that. Yo.
they did, but if we'd scored in that second, in the end of that first half, they would have changed. Like they needed, we didn't put the straw that broke the camel's back. We didn't put that on them. We didn't give it to them. I've completely butchered that, but like we didn't put enough on them to break them. And they are mentally strong. They know what we're going to bring. They are mentally, they're incredible. And the Springboks spoke about them highly, and we all know what they can bring, but we just didn't do enough to break them. And they break people a lot. They have been breaking teams forever. Ask the Wallabies. They're still never going to recover from that.
No, 100%. But second half starts, Sia gets the yellow card. If Sia's hair was as short as mine, he would not have got a yellow card. Because I think the top of his hair brushed like Artie's chin, and it's like, well, unfortunately he's gonna go. But then the All Blacks got back in the game, and then when he said we had the chance to kill the game. In start of the second half, Sia doesn't pass that ball there. We score. Arendse just sneaks in behind Bowden Barrett, and because I thought we scored that the game is finished, but then Sia goes off and the game flipped on its head, because then we went from being dominant to, oh shit. And then, man, and then shocking. I'm like, see now, the anxiety is coming back now because I'm still thinking about that stress. I mean, there's a stage when the All Blacks are coming, because the problem with the All Blacks, it's different for me. I don't know how you feel. When other teams keep coming and coming and coming, it's like, we can hold them, we can defend. But the All Blacks, like these dogs can score. They can score a try and score another one immediately. I've always said that's their greatest ever trait. They're ability to score 2 or 3 tries in a space in a very quick time and sort of blow you out the water. And they always have the quality to score a try out of nowhere. Like, I forgot how good Mark Teleo was. Like, we couldn't touch him. I think I was saying Mark Teleo was on a mission to try and beat every single Springbok defender when he was there. And then you look at Jody Barrett and he's up on the pump and Richie Mo'unga. But in that period, I mean, we were properly scrambling.
Yeah. I just want to go back to halftime. Felix Jones, having chat to the team, that halftime chat was good, but Felix was like, guys, we have 15 to 20 proper, what did he mention? Accurate, clean breakdowns. If we do 15 to 20 accurate, clean breakdowns, we will win this. And I love that. And the Kolisi yellow card, bizarrely, there's still people that doubt him as a rugby player and as a captain, but you can clearly see what happened in that game when he went off. The players talk about it. They were like, when he walked on, I mean, even was like, oh, thank goodness he's back. And the All Blacks they can 1-2 punch you so quickly, and we know that. And we were hanging on, man. We were hanging on like our lives depended on it. It was for South Africa, man.
Gee, there's a few. I mean, when you go to Pieter-Steph du Toit, I just love whenever they showed the games happening. Within, you see a ruck, someone gets hit, the next one Pieter-Steph is making that tackle. Then someone else, boom, then Pieter-Steph pops up again. I mean, the way we talk about how we hit those Barretts, but just to see that again, arguably one of the greatest Springbok performances of all time. And what I love about the Springboks in finals, we've had performances, I mean, from everyone. I mean, we had Pieter-Steph in 2023, then Dwayne in 2019, Victor 07, and 95 is probably a collective of moments of Joel Stransky, US tackling Lomu, and then James Small. 95, but since then, each player had a moment, but Pieter-Steph could have put on probably one of the greatest ever performances I've seen in a Bok jersey.
Yeah, and I love the way Rassie was talking. He's like, Jordy's really long. He's long. Don't worry. You're not going to tackle him high. Just hit him all day. Just hit him all day. And he did. And you mentioned players that you expected to be involved in that game. Aaron Smith, last All Black performance, I think during that haka, he was crying, was pretty emotional. We were all over important players. But I tell you, the big one was that Richie Mo'unga hit. He got smoked by Eben and Pieter-Steph du Toit. I don't think he has ever had to play rugby where he's not solely focused on what he's doing. He's always got 10% of his mind, maybe half an eye looking out for some green goblin to come and eat him. And Pieter-Steph was ridiculous. I mean, for such a quiet guy, I know he's a big human, but for such a quiet guy to just go on. The thing is, he went on for 80 minutes. He just tackled everyone, everything, all the time. It was just nonstop. There were some really important tackles. Sikolisi made one great tackle. Deon Fourie made an incredible tackle. Jesse Creel too. Like, we had a bunch of individuals doing some great things, but as a whole, we like pulled together. But then you've got Peter Stepp. Like, imagine the guys, the Springboks even would have just been like lining up. Peter Stepp would have been on the inside or the outside, and they were like, cool, my channel's safe as houses, because no one's running here because this guy is going to eat you.
And I mean, there was the Faf quick, ankle tap on Dalton probably in the corner, which stops the line break. Because, I mean, I thought the All Blacks, that last 25, I thought they were great. As good as they can be. I mean, that was, it took so much scrambling. And like I said, it was almost the collective effort of the Springbok defense coming together, the scramble, the press. All of it had to work that day for us to win the World Cup final. If there's an element of our scramble was off, because against All Blacks, if you don't scramble well, you cooked, because they're gonna slice you no matter what. And like some of the, and the guys were talking about like how desperate they were, because now that it's the World Cup final, they're playing for South Africa, and you could see the desperation like in the eye, and in their eyes, you can see that in their faces and what they're doing when they're just getting up, and guys are making tackles. Peter Stepp is getting up making tackles. Deon Fourie is bad and bruised, his shoulders busted, guys are bleeding, and you can also in the All Blacks, you can see the desperation the All Blacks are. So, and sometimes you can see the All Blacks can give them that look like, shit, these Oaks are not going away. They're not even giving us a sniff to just. And I think the All Blacks always felt like they were just like one pass away, but then someone covers, and that's why I do think also I still to this day think the All Blacks, that a penalty when Colby went off, they should have gone for the corner instead of that shot but again, I think for them, they're thinking just getting hit, being hit so long, so bad. They're probably thinking, let's just get ahead, have the buffer, the one or 2 point buffer, and then let's start forcing them to play rugby, and then we can hopefully pick them off, because we've tried having possession, they keep making hits, and it's almost a part of me felt like, oh, that's them almost like, okay, conceding a little bit. Because normally I thought the way they were dominating that game, and at that stage, I'm like, oh, shit, if they go for the corner again, they might actually score. Their maul was going well. Their pack was functioning. Their scrum they were scrubbing well as well.
Yeah, it was. I disagree. I think they should have gone for the points. When last the All Blacks missed 2 kicks at goal in a knockout game, I don't know when, because they missed the Bowden Barrett conversion and then a Geordie kick. You, as a Springbok fan, as an All Black fan, as an anybody fan, you're expecting one of those to at least go over, if not both. And I agree with you in that they were only thinking of one thing with a game that was so tight. 12-11, you just needed a 1 point lead to win it. That's all they needed. And they knew that. Like, when the conversion was missed, they were like, cool, we've got another chance. We have at least one more chance. Like we spoke about it in previous episodes about just that one more chance. They're going to get one more chance and they're going to do it. And yeah, they didn't. And we managed to hold on. I'll be honest with you, when Colby got carded and they like got the kicking tee on, that was it. I think I can't even remember how much time was left in the game. There wasn't a lot left. I think there might have been 5 or so minutes left.
It was 8 minutes. 8 minutes when he went off. He knew it was.
That's imprinted on you, Cooks. You know that. It's imprinted on you properly. So 8 minutes, you trust any side to win it in those 8 minutes as well, and that's what's interesting. Personally, I much prefer that they went for the kick, because I'd rather chase a penalty to win it than try and score a try. If they score a try, we don't come back.
It's a funny World Cup final, because watching as a fan is, okay, we've won it. Oh, now we've got a chance to seal it. Oh, shit, see us off. Okay, now we're scrambling. Okay, see us back on. Okay, we're holding on, we're scrambling. Then they score. You go, shit, okay, now we're in big trouble. Then we sort of come back, we hold the fort. Then Kobe goes off, then like, no, the game is done. And you're like, okay, cool, we're winning again. Like, the roller coaster of emotions we went through in that World Cup final. And to get to that last scrum where Jasper Wiese, the carrier of his life, and the angle they showed, I love the angle showed from the blind side, and you could see him picking up and going, and the actual, I think about 6 of like 4 or 5 All Blacks on him, trying to rip that ball out, and him going, I refuse to go down. I refuse to let this ball go.
He was only on for 3 minutes or 4 minutes. That carry, I honestly think, I just want to go back. I will say something. I keep watching that Quacker Smith turnover, and I look at that and I'm just like, that's a penalty every single time. I get so worried about it that, like, with his hand on the ball, but we managed to seal it. So just wanted to add that, because I still think it's suspect. But Jasper's getting set up for that scrum, and you know what movie's going on in his mind. His mind is simply, the time is up, the ball's just got to come to me, and then I've just got to do what I've got to do. And I never expected him to be able to do it with so many people, because he picked it up and took some contact. I think Aaron Smith got in on him, or someone. I don't even think.
And was going backwards as well. And we're going backwards.
And then he kind of reset and then started driving more, and then more players were swarming in. I almost feel like there wasn't a Springbok there. I think they were all just sitting there watching the party, but it was incredible. The best part, and I love it. I love knowing when the final whistle is going to go when you watch it back, and then you look at the players, and the players have realized this is a maul. They've heard the ref call the maul, and they're like kind of going to celebrate, but they need the whistle first. Yeah. Even though he's called them all, like, is someone going to do, like, it's not done yet. It should technically be over, but they're kind of there, and then they just let rip.
Oh man, it was incredible. I mean, the sound of that final whistle. I mean, the relief and the happiness the players' faces, and then probably I keep saying the best. I mean, it's a great episode, but like from there to the end, it just becomes incredible. What incredible sports documentary. I mean, shocking, that 2 minutes when the players couldn't describe what they were feeling, just they couldn't actually put into words what they had done. And then it goes back to, I'm literally getting goosebumps now, because then Deon Fourie talks about him and his dad, and then the tears. Quacker Smith, of all people, breaking down, talking about, the job they'd done. And then Dwayne, that's when I was broken. When Dwayne came after all of that, I'd held on for Deon, and held on for Quacker, and then Dwayne mentioned, to see his kids there, and you think about, obviously, his dad. I don't think his dad ever saw him being a Springbok, and I think, didn't even see him winning World Cups, and then his kids being there, and then the shot of him looking up to his dad, I was done. I was done.
Totally wiped a few tears off. Those players trying to describe it, and just like they're trying to search for that word, but they know inside, like, there's just no word for it. It was amazing. Dwayne, his story, everyone's story. Deon Fourie, his shoulder, like how many guys cramped up in that half. Oh, man, it was incredible. I tell you something, to all those who are trying to watch 5 episodes in a row, good luck. That's going to be quite something, man. It's, like, I'm just thinking about this. I'm struggling to put words together. It was just absolutely amazing.
I mean, to see guys, like, it's, and I love such this perspective from, guys like Quacker and, Trevor, Dwayne, who've gone back to back, but they have a different sort of type of relation to like an Ox or a Moody, because that's their first one. I mean, from the daydreams coming true. And, for Dwayne or something like that, and for Dwayne, for them, maybe like winning the first one is just, a validation for their careers. But like now they're a bit older and wiser, and you look back and you think, geez, now my kids are a bit older. They've seen, and then I think Rassie, he sums it up so nicely at the end. He just talks about, what the country means, and what the Springboks mean to the country, and what the country means to them, when they say the people carried us through. And they're so fitting, they talk about it. And Shock, you remember, like, here, and you couldn't find a Springbok jersey. You couldn't find on the final a place to watch the game. If you didn't book a table on the Monday, you were not watching the World Cup final. And it was such an incredible month. And, we all got, we all got behind the box, and it was just fork for fork to actually sum it up. Like, and to hear like Rassie, I got choked up when you said like it's the people that carried us through, because when we were here, like that month, the box was probably the most important thing. That's weekends was the stress, the week. Watching people in our lives, shock you, who never even dreamt of watching rugby, finding screens, finding ways to watch games, finding ways to get jerseys, finding stress. I went to go visit my dad during my parents during the World Cup, and he loves his rugby, but I've never seen him that stressed, that worried. Is Monie going to be okay? Is going to be fine? Like, what happens if one of the scrummers get injured? Like the level of panic. And for us to say like it's the people that got us through. I think as fans, that's the ultimate reward, to know that our passion, our love for the box, and the guys that not only the capture the country going berserk, but that's how it was everywhere. Like,
yeah,
you only saw like 4 or 5 players in the documentary, but that's what the country was everywhere.
yeah. And Rassie, there were times in the beginning, because Rassie's been singing this song forever. He's always been, it's about the country, and you kind of like thinking like, is he sincere about it? Like, does he mean it? Is it just because of we won the World Cup in 2019 and chasing the sun? Or is it just because of that? But you go on another 4 years later, and 28th of October last year, and we go and win it, and we come back and he's crying in the airport. Like, he means it. This is, he's not just saying it. It's not just a little bit of something to get the players like kind of G'd up for a game. This is, he lives and breathes it. This team lives and breathes. And I was thinking, now you're talking about like Dwayne winning 2, and is it a validation? To be honest, and this is no disrespect to the All Blacks when they won, back to back, but our 2 World Cups were an absolute journey, man. 2019 was hard. It was hard. No one expected it. We went through a couple of tough games. 2023 was tough. Like, as we mentioned, you could pick 3 other teams to win the World Cup, and you would have expected it. Like, sides have gone places like the Crusaders of old. They're going to win the Super Rugby, so you watch the games anyway, but you know what the result's going to be. And it was different for the Springboks in 2019 and different for the Springboks last year. It was like the emotional roller coaster that those individuals, that squad have gone through must have been wild. Like, coming off beating France, then having to deal with a shitty England. And I'm nice when I say that, because they were like all over us. And then going into another 1-point win against the All Blacks. Oh man, poor guys.
I just think, like, it was a journey. Especially like, and we've got 2 documentaries. We got the 2 sides dealing with the Lions, which was a journey itself, and now seeing it again come the World Cup. And such an interesting 3-year period, and an interesting year last year that I thought, the guy at TNW kept it so nicely. And you look back and you watch, like you said, people watch all 5 episodes. This is so many like unsung heroes and guys that just played such pivotal roles. But Shoki, before we go, would you say in the 5 episodes, someone that like you expect Rassie to feature a lot, you expect Jacques, you expect Sia and all that. Was there anyone like an unsung hero that caught you off guard in the 5 episodes? You'd be like, man, I did not expect this at all.
I think Felix, to a certain extent, because we knew what he added, but seeing it, like watching him in the final, picking up stuff so quickly and just saying, tell them it was a foul, like this is what happened. He called that red card on Sam Cane very early. I think Deon Fourie was another. He was featured quite heavily, and he deserves it. He absolutely deserves it. And Matt Pearce talks about the incredible 16-month journey that Deon Fourie went on. Well, that's what we're here for, man. Like, we're here for these amazing stories. That's what we want. We want fairy tales, and the Rainbow Nation is all about these little fairy tales, because we constantly got issues. We've constantly got stuff like someone's, you know, doing, there's issues all over the show. And we live for fairy tales, and this fairy tale has been going on for 8 years straight.
I know. I think my one is, it has to be Don Human in his bucket hat. I mean, episode 4 is probably, I mean, last episode was great. I mean, they're all my favorite. Episode 4, like, you have a scrum episode there, the way he speaks about it and what it means, and he use quotes about preparation, and look, all Oakland's do is go to his farm, wear his bucket hat, and coach scrumming. I mean, he was brilliant. I loved him. You know, but even the guys who perform in Rassie's always box office. I mean, like, or I mean, some of the moments, like, you know, remember the end of episode 1 on fuck, you're like, oh geez, you're thinking, oh, like, you know, like this season 2 of Chasing the Sun 2 took us on such a journey. I mean, we had that, the fuck at the end of episode 2, then, you know, the 8 cock on, I mean, episode 1 was the Marks thing. Episode 2 was the 8 cock they got from the Island game. When we sat there, you're like, what on earth has just happened? Season 3, episode 3, the most dramatic ending where just out of the blue, like in the middle of where the whole country was like, what's going on? And then Bongi was crying. And then I'm gonna tell you something, my favorite ending, Damon Willemse sums it up perfectly. Okay, job's not done. Like, I'll see if we change the Sun 3. And I thought that was such a fitting way, because that's what the box mindset is. Like, they've celebrated now, they've done all this, they're going, okay, time for us to go back to work. We're on a journey to go 3-peat. And you know what I think? Our coaching staff are such sickos. They want that history. They want that ultimate. I think that for them is the ultimate stamp. 3 in a row. Yes, we've done that, but I'm still adamant. Rassie Erasmus does not come back as the head coach if the Oaks don't believe that 3-peat is not on.
Oh, you bang on. You talk about Don Human. I did love that scrum episode for a backline player. It's always nice learning a little bit what the guys get up to. But episode 5, when Don Human fronts up to the media straight after the Bongi and Bonambi incident, or that issue, probably the best person you could put in front of media at that time.
Yeah,
he just sat there. The shadow was just over his eyes, so you can probably see him rolling his eyes every single time the question came. He goes, I cannot comment. And it just, like, it's just running into a wall, and you just get stopped every time. It was the best. The hooker one was amazing. Like, if we're honest with ourselves, and if everyone didn't know it, I'm going to remind you, we had the 2 best hookers in the world, and we lost them. And then we went on and created the 3rd best hooker in the world, and he went on to win it for us. But imagine losing. So I've never seen a side have 2 hookers the quality of what we've had in one team. But just
especially at their peak.
Yes, thinking about that space, Malcolm Marx being injured, that scramble of trying to, what are we going to do? It's cool, Deon's got this. Everyone's like, then making him ready. And how did they prepare him? And then Deon needs these players. So that changes the landscape of the bench. And then we went on and created a legend in Deon Fourie. Or I wouldn't say he created that legend, was all himself. He just had an opportunity to show it to the world. But go on and win the World Cup with 3 hookers like that, and that journey, and that story is wild.
No, it's incredible. But Shoki, our journey's come to an end as well in the rugby, but Chase the Sun 2 review. It's been great. It's been a great 5 weeks, and thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks everyone for watching. And then
sorry, and just a quick shout out to Jared, obviously Rugby Bits member, but he got a little a screenshot of his tweets every day. Follow Jared Wright on Twitter. He posts how many days we've been world champions, and he got a little bit of love from TNW, so thanks to them.
No, I love that. And also shout out to TNW team, Jack Gareth, guys, Lungani. Oh wow, I mean, what an incredible job. And all the sponsors, Betway, Spur, Toyota. I mean, thank you for Super Sport. I mean, that's gotta give them a shout out, otherwise I'm gonna be jobless tomorrow. But yeah, but I think for giving us an incredible documentary. It's been a privilege and an honor breaking it down. each. I wasn't probably breaking it down. It was just an excuse for us to talk about it because it's so great instead of us talking, instead of just keeping our thoughts to ourselves. But we'll still be back. We will record a pod again this week. Chat some rugby. We still got URC. We still got Champions Cup coming up. So got the Irish coming very soon. And Sharky, so we still got a lot to do.
A lot. And all of those that don't know, we'll be providing a Chasing the Sun review all over again because Tyler's yet to watch it. So we get to do this all over again. Cooks, you and I can dovetail again, but I'd love him to share his thoughts too.
just for Tyler. But anyway, guys, but please like and subscribe. Watch us on YouTube as well. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, Sharky.
All right, thanks.